deep down, it's like I used to watch like SNL or like Jimmy Fallon, like back in Chatham. I was like, I could do that. But like I never knew, like that was never something I thought I could do,
I don't even understand how I could. I'm your mother. How do I not know this about you?
Like whenever I would watch like SNL, I'd be like, I could write those like I could do that, like I could be funny, like, and even watching stand up is always like I could do that.
I don't understand. How come you've never said it out loud?
Sometimes it's like it feels embarrassing to like admit your dreams out loud.
Hello.
We're live.
We're live. I'm trying to silence my phone. We're live in the studio. What?
Steven is stage momming me as he hits record.
What does that mean? He's trying to pump you up?
He's saying no yawning.
That's very funny.
Because I always tend to start yawning when we start podcasting, and I don't know if it's just because like
noticing it. So
yeah,
he's editing.
Like when you're talking, and it's not that I'm not interested. It's just like, well, maybe on your long tangents I get a little tired.
Well, I'm going to keep the tangents so short today. You're not even going to know who I am.
And I changed our category on the podcast to comedy, so we gotta get those laughs in.
We're gonna make it snappy and laughy. Oh my gosh, Julie! All right, let's just kick it off. And I'm going to be the interviewer of you once we get rolling. So I'll let you do a little quick update, and then I'll do a very brief update. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we're exploring different formats for the podcast.
That's okay. We should do that.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a good adventure. I keep hitting the table and it's moving the tripod, so I'm gonna stop doing that and stop talking with my hands. But that's very hard. It's like every picture of me doing stand-up comedy, I'm like I'm just like it's hands.
That's good though. No, expression is good. Expression is good. This is the last time I'm going to be holding the microphone. Hopefully my desk arrives today so I can set up my desk and not be holding it. Mm-hmm. It's not on mute. At least we got that worked out. Oh my goodness.
Thank goodness. Okay, let's see. Quick update for me about my week. I started a new class. It's about writing for late night TV. So all about writing for shows like Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, all the Jimmys, Stephen Colbert, like SNL,
I love
that kind of stuff. So I had that this week, which is exciting, which we can kind of talk about on the later, because I know your focus is asking me about comedy today. What did we do? Been watching a lot of sports. I feel like it's that time of year where just like every night there's something to watch, which is like fun. So that's good.
That is fun.
It's fun. Halloween. Well, in South, Halloween will be past. We're going to go to the West Hollywood Halloween parade, I think, which is where everyone just like goes and walks Santa Monica Boulevard. And then...
So are you going to dress up for that?
Yes, I'm reusing our costumes from last year. I made the Sims diamond that the Sims in the Sims game wear. And it is the best costume I've ever made in my entire life, because all I got to do is throw on this headband and I'm in costume. I can wear whatever else I want.
That's so wrong.
It's not wrong. It's genius.
Okay. Well, Dad was very disappointed because he saw that I went to Spirit Halloween and bought a costume.
That is a cardinal sin.
It's kind of a cardinal sin, but first of all, a couple of things. I wasn't even sure I was going to go to Jonathan's, which I'm likely not going to Jonathan's tomorrow because I have a meeting later in the day, so I'm not going to make it out to Jersey. So It's going to be my first time where I'm not going to be. But however, the city parade will be happening, and I'm like, I'm not going to necessarily go down to be walking in the city chaos, but I always see the costumes coming by. And when the parade is over, so I'm like, maybe I'll just get my ass in my costume for fun and then go down there and watch people and then just do some of my own content. Might be fun. I know Dad's going to think I'm a nut doing it, but what I bought, because it was funny and I thought Jonathan would like it, and that was the motivation for it, is the elf costume from the movie Elf.
That's a good one.
And I was like, it's a good one because I was going to take it further and carry a plate of spaghetti with syrup, have a thing of syrup. But then I was thinking maybe I'll Velcro a syrup bottle on my body so that I have like the syrup, like all the things. I'm going to think I can't just wear the costume. That would be so boring. But if I take it to another level.
That would be so boring.
And of course now I'm thinking of this and I'm like, should I just drive to Jonathan's and sit in traffic? because I think he'll
Yeah.
get a kick out of this costume. We'll
Yeah.
see. I'll play it by ear tomorrow, but it is a funny idea, I think.
Just for context, we were never allowed to buy a store-bought costume growing up.
No.
Mom went so far as to one year I dressed up as a s'more, and you came to the school costume parade and you drizzled Hershey syrup all over me before the
Legit.
parade. And
Not
yeah.
paint.
Not paint.
It was actual syrup.
Actual
I wanted
syrup.
you to smell the part.
Committed.
I forgot.
Maybe
oh my gosh.
that's where I get committing to the bit from.
That's good for you. I came to one of your parades dressed up as one of the pirates from Pirates of the Caribbean ones. I don't even know if you remember that. I mean, I was all in every year in the Burbs. So and I still feel it. It's like ingrained in me. I have to go all in for Halloween whenever I do it. So we'll see. Anyway,
right. What are your other updates? And
I have very brief updates, so I'll make it snappy. One is that I started doing group exercise class, and I think it's funny because I haven't done it since before the pandemic, and I wanted to try it, and I've decided now I'm going to do reviews of the exercise programs I'm trying in the city. So that's going to be like a little tangent of content because it relates to my other update, which is I've been making the content for Hangry Pets. I know you made me take them out of the shot, but I'm going to put them back in just for a second. So here's the Hangry Pet. So I've been making the content for these Hangry Pets, and I cannot believe that 10 videos of mine, I've made them all. They have 4 viral videos already. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding?
Kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? And it's not, and they're viral on Instagram. So it's like even more amazing to me because I don't think Instagram is my kind of go-to platform. I'm dying. So what I'm saying about this is like, okay, clearly I know how to work it so that we can make the viral videos. It's just a matter of that. So when I go all in, I go all in.
You're going all in.
I'm going
on the
all
Hangry
in.
Pets.
On the Hangries. I'm so excited. Are you kidding me? It's like a testimonial.
It is exciting.
So it's yes. So it all both of those things connect to what we're doing with work now. So I'm just really pumped because now I have the receipts to prove why I should be teaching people in a studio. And so we're creating the virtual studio. So those are all updates to come. Now let's get into the topic for today. Woo!
Woo!
We're going to talk about your comedy journey as it has unfolded. And I have some questions for you because I love that you've taken on the producing role. And I want to explore how that's different, how that's changed things for you, if you like it, if you don't like it. So I have a few questions. Are you ready?
Let's get into it.
Okay, first, a little backstory. What are you doing every month, the first Saturday of the month? We have to lay the groundwork.
Yeah. Build the foundation. First Saturday of every month, I'm hosting and producing a comedy show at a comedy club in Santa Monica called The Crow. And it is in their upstairs room. It's about 25 seats. It's a little small, intimate vibe. And it's going to be a monthly comedy show featuring female comics.
And so this is your second one upcoming, right?
This is my second one at The Crow, but third one total because I had the first one at a different comedy space.
Okay.
But when I started this show, the goal was always to get it into The Crow.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I really like The Crow. It's like a female-owned comedy club. They do things for the community. It's just like a great space, a very positive comedy space in a world where there are a lot of dark closet space feeling comedy clubs in LA where you just go into a dark room and you do 5 minutes for 3 people. So
all right.
I always was like, it would be great to get this show in there because I think it would be the perfect place for it. And after the first one went really well, sold out, a 50-seat place, I was like, I'm going to pitch this to The Crow. They have a thing that you can do. I, wrote up a little summary and I sent it over. And then I connected with like the producer there and we kind of, not like an interview, but it was kind of just like, let's see if we're the right fit. I got a trial run show in August. And then after all the traveling, I was like, I'd love to do another show. And they're like, we want to have you on as a monthly spot if that's what you would like to do. And I said, yes.
That's amazing. Don't you think that's amazing? Like, wow.
Yeah.
Because it's not even like you're doing a weeknight. It's a Saturday.
Which I'm having feelings about if picking Saturday was the right night of the week.
Oh, did you pick it? Or did they give it to you?
Originally I was like, oh, Saturday would be good because like sometimes it's hard to get people to go to a weeknight show, but now I'm
Right.
running into the problem where Saturday night there's so many things happening, so it's almost harder to,
Oh.
whereas like it's easier to be like, hey, are you free on this random Tuesday in November versus
Mm,
like a
interesting.
Saturday
Interesting.
night during peak football and sports season is stressful.
That's okay. I could see that. I can see that. But I mean, what was the reasoning of you wanting to produce in the first place? Because you were clicking along fine and you getting into shows and performing. So what's the motivation? And you can give me a couple of motivations. What was the
Oh yeah.
motivations for producing?
I mean, the first one that any lineup I was on, I was like one of two or three women on that lineup, and it just
Okay.
was not a fun vibe. Um, there weren't a lot of women only comedy shows in LA, and if there were, they were really hard to get onto because, there's so few. Um, I mean, being a control freak, wanting to
Uh-huh.
have the control over how a show runs, because sometimes these shows there's like 15 to 20 comics. The show goes 2.5 hours, and like you're a comic and you're exhausted, and it's like I feel bad for inviting people and forcing people to sit through 2.5 hours all the
That's a lot.
time.
Yeah.
And just to give myself these two things of guaranteed stage time and a good reason for like networking with other comics, because I'm not very good at networking. It's definitely like I hated it in college when you had to like network to get a job after college, and I was
Oh.
never good at networking because I feel like it's a lot of small talk. It's a lot of it's a very anxiety inducing. So I wanted to do it for all of those reasons, but
All
mainly
right.
like stage time and networking.
Those are good reasons, and they're very well communicated. You're very concise in your communication. But I
Thank
think that
you.
people need to know what is a task list for
Mm,
producing a comedy show. Now, you don't have to, but just give me the bullet
yeah.
points of what you're responsible for when you're producing a show. And the crow, I want to add before you even launch, I'll give you a minute to think,
Mm-hmm.
is I have heard Kathy Griffin talk about the crow and Rosie O'Donnell. So
Mm-hmm.
it is not a like sleep on it venue. This is like a legit place where the legit comedians are going in Santa
Yeah.
Monica. So that's very exciting that they've given you a monthly show. I'm happy
Yeah.
about it. But I would like to know what you do. What does a producer of a comedy show have to
Yes.
be responsible for? Tell me.
Okay. I mean, I have to set the lineup. I have to contact all the comics, ask them if they want to be on the show, follow up with them if they don't respond, get everyone's headshots. And I send out a call sheet that has all the things on it once I get the lineup set so that everyone has just like a easy PDF screenshotable thing with all the details so they don't have to like go back through a million emails. Yeah.
Okay.
I plan a lot of my promotion and marketing is social media because that's what I do. So I have to get clips from everybody, get those clips uploaded. I make graphics, I print out flyers, which is pretty old school. I feel like not a lot of people do it because whenever I do it and hand out the flyers, people are like, "Oh my God, I've never been on a physical flyer before. Can I like keep this?" And I'm like, "Absolutely."
Oh,
So
that's fun.
that is
That's
something
very fun.
that I was like, I don't want to do it this run. And then I did it. And I'm something that I definitely have to do every show because I went to one of my comedian friends' apartment and she has all of the flyers from the shows that I've had her on hanging up on her like fridge. So
I love that. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Okay.
And then day of it's like,
Wait, you have to do you prepare do you get a videographer? Do you prepare any of that ahead
that's
of
what I was just
time?
about to get
Music? Tell
to.
me. Okay. I
So
didn't know if you did that ahead of time.
the space is really small, so I don't really want to bring in a photographer or videographer when I know I could just like set up my stuff. So what I end up doing is I set up my camera. I borrow my friend Kobe has a Zoom recorder, so I set up the Zoom recorder to get better audio. So I have that, and then I have my other friend Tim. He'll come and run the camera. I'll be doing
Nice.
photos with my point and shoot because it's such a small space. I don't need like a fancy like it's so small. I don't need like
Okay.
a zoom lens or a crazy camera. Like my point and shoot takes great pictures for that.
Great.
So I do that. I'll probably have Steven take some photos or help me run the music if he would like to do that.
Okay.
Because I need someone to run the music. This time I got my friend Gloria to guest host because the past few times I've hosted and it's a lot to host, be the producer, be the photographer, be running the light, be managing comics and doing all that in a
That's a
2 hour
lot.
period of time. Yeah. So I getting
And
her to
performing your
and
set, right?
performing. And I feel like the last few times I've hosted, my set hasn't been as good because I'm worried about all the other things. And usually I wouldn't mind, but I desperately need a new tape so that I can submit to get booked on other
Hmm.
shows. So the
Okay.
goal is to, by having Gloria, to take one less thing off my plate so that I can
Great.
spend that time focused on having a good set.
Great. I like it. Oh my gosh. That's a lot to do because you just mentioned a bunch of things that then give you a lot of post work because now you have to put the audio on the videos, right? You have
Yes.
to take the good audios and
Well,
put them on. Oh,
Well, what I
Stephen?
do, I hand it off to Steven. I charge the comics, and he does that. And then he gets paid from the comics to edit the
Oh,
videos.
what a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh, Julie, you guys got it down to a science.
Got a little
Okay, that's good.
business.
I love this. I love this. And then you're making some profit on the ticket sales on these shows, right?
Yeah.
Although it's not a lot because it's a small venue, right?
It's a small venue. And last time I did, yeah, I was able to do discount code. I bring the discount code when I feel like ticket sales are struggling because I feel like it kind of motivates people to purchase.
Okay.
But last time I made like a good chunk of change. This time, probably not as much because I'm relying on the discount code to get people in the door. But kind of just depends on how my month is going. How, like, if I want to make more money from it or if I want to make sure I get people in the door.
Okay. A couple more detailed questions. Do you have to be the person who signs people in, or does somebody at the venue do that?
Okay, so the Crow, this is like the best. This is why I wanted to get into a better space, not a better space, a different space. The Crow has someone who will check people in,
Great.
and they manage like the ticket sales platform.
Great.
So yeah, that's the great, and that's the other thing about the show is I don't make it a forced, a forced bringer, which is, if you don't know the comedy scene in LA or in anywhere else, like, you have to, bringers are shows where you're required to bring a certain amount of people in order to get stage time. And it's always really stressful. Whenever I'm on those, I'm more stressed about getting people to come to my show versus my material. So I never wanted other people to feel that way. So my show does not have a forced bringer. And by that, I mean, I'm not going to kick you off if you can't get anyone to come, because I know sometimes shit happens and getting people to come is incredibly difficult. But I
Right.
ask that everyone try to do their best to promote, accept the collaboration requests on Instagram, and to sell at least like 2 to 3 tickets if they can, like, and then, relying on myself to kind of fill and do the job marketing and promoting the show.
So and that is very different, but you can also see why people make it be bringers because what
Yeah.
is the most stressful part of producing these shows right now?
Yeah. Like, I
Is
totally
it getting the people?
understand.
Would you say, like, what is the most stressful, or I guess best part and worst part of producing the shows now? Is the worst part really trying to get people there, or what's the hardest part?
The best part is having the guaranteed stage time.
Wait, having guaranteed stage time for you,
Yeah.
but you're producing it, so you have guaranteed stage time.
I know. That's what the best part about having my show is I get stage time every month.
Okay.
And I
That's
get
part of
like, I can pick however long my set is and do as much time as I want, essentially.
Okay, great.
So that is the best part. Building a community around the brand is also another part. Like, the worst part is the ticket sales and feeling stressed about filling the room every month because I want comics to feel like this is like a not high end, but like it's a high quality comedy show. And if people don't show, if it's like an emptier room, then it's a little depressing to
Yes.
perform into. But it's never come to that. The past 2 have sold out, so I'm just gonna keep hoping it sells out. I know people will buy tickets the day of. It's made me a better comedy consumer because now if like my friends are producing a show or they invite me to a show, I buy the ticket immediately because I know the producer on the other end doesn't have to panic.
That's so nice. Okay, so wait. Let's just double back on this because you're being nice to the comics and you're not making them bring people to get stage time. So you're doing a nice thing for them, but that's adding more stress onto you if you think about it. Because then it's falling on you to actually do the marketing and get the people there. And your network, how big could your network be that you're going to get people to come to a show every single month?
I know.
That can't be.
It's hard. It's hard.
How are you cracking the code? That's what I'd like to know is like, what's your thought process on cracking the code for that? Because it's all about marketing, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
I mean, part of it is just doing it every month and having the spot and getting the word out. Like I've now met people that are like, "Oh, you're the person who runs Laughaholics," and I'm like, "Yeah,"
Oh,
like they know it. So I feel like we're on track.
we're on
It's
track.
and it's like the
Okay, good.
people who are on the show, I think really like being on the show and they suggest it to other people. I was talking to a friend and I was asking for recommendations on shows to get on. She's like, honestly, your show was the best one.
Oh my
And
God.
so that kind of says a lot, I guess,
Yes,
about what I'm
girl.
doing.
Oh, I'm
But
so proud.
yeah. So, which makes me not want to be on other shows.
No, I got it. Yeah. Well, that's a problem.
I'm like, oh, well, then there's nothing else out there for me, but I can need to perform more than once a month.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but have you been trying to get on other shows or not so much now?
I mean, I'm waiting. I need a tape.
Okay, right.
So, I mean, I could use my old tape. I just feel like it's not as strong as it could be. So I'm hoping that I can get a good one this weekend.
Great.
I've been, and on the other side, it's like on top of all of this, I'm also still trying to do my own comedy. So I've been trying really hard to develop what they call in the biz a tight five.
That's okay. And then you want to have your 10 so that in case you could
I
go long
know,
on your own
yeah.
show, right?
Yeah. Well, the tight five is so a lot of sets are usually 5 to 8 minutes. So giving yourself creating like that classic that tight five you can go to for the next couple of months. And then, before, if you have more than 5 minutes, you can do like a minute of material before the five and a minute after the five, or start with 2 new minutes. It's a good way to like work out material, but then also have guaranteed material that, works for shows. I used to be
Okay.
always like, oh, I need new material for every show. But as I've realized that I need to be performing more frequently, that's not as
Realistic,
necessarily
really.
doable.
Well,
So
it's not realistic.
it's like I wanted to have my type five, but then also be like trying new things at most shows. So I just want to have the type five as like the foundation for the next couple months and then, but still tweaking it. I think that's like the biggest issue I see with comedians on my level right now is like they make their type five and then they don't make any changes to it. It's like
Right.
I want to do if I get this type five, constantly be trying to evolve it or improve it by changing out a tag or changing the way I can word things and seeing how it does with one crowd versus another crowd. So it's a lot of trial and error.
Do you see a difference in your performance when you're producing a show and performing at it or just performing in someone else's show? Is there any difference?
I mean, producing, I'm not really caring as much about my set because I'm more worried about making sure that comics are good and feel comfortable and ready to go on stage and it's a good audience and good crowd. I feel like, which makes my set, I put less pressure for my set, but then I feel like I never have a good set because
Oh.
I'm not as in, this is the thing. It's like I'm not as in the moment when I'm producing
Mm.
because I'm thinking about all the things when I'm on stage, not comedy related. Like I'm like, okay, is the next comic coming in? Is the light running?
Wow.
Is this camera good? Like I'm thinking about everything else versus when I'm on someone else's show, it's like I'm just focused solely
On
on my
your own.
performance.
Your own performance, yeah. So that's a good reason to actually continue to do other shows,
Yeah,
just so that
that's
you
why I
can
need to
have
like get
total
on.
focus on that. But I mean, do you think maybe this helps you not be as nervous? Because I find when I'm very busy with other things, my nerves don't kick in because I don't have
Yeah.
time for nerves. Do
Yeah,
you think that helps that?
kind of. Like I don't have nerves for my set, but I have nerves for other reasons.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah. Yikes.
It's like I want comics to do well. I want the audience to be engaged. And it's like really hard because it's like you get an audience there and you don't, and like not to blame the audience, but it's like you could have a iffy audience that just doesn't feel like laughing. And at my show
Right.
also, free parking and no drink minimum. So no one's forced to buy drinks. So it's not like
Wow.
if you're at a club show or, the second half of the show might be a little more rowdy because like people are drinking.
Right. But that can work against you too. Sometimes people
Yeah.
are obnoxious when they're rowdy, you know? How do you find a headliner? I mean, is it important to find like a proper headliner or?
Yeah. So it depends. I've had now shows where I've had a headliner and haven't had a headliner.
What's the criteria for a headliner?
For me, it's like someone who's at or above like the next couple levels of where I want to be.
Oh,
Um, someone who might be touring or just more does more shows, does longer sets. Their sets are really solid. I mean, I hate that it's like a vanity metric, but someone who has a lot of followers, because then if they
That's
help
good.
promote the show, it gets like the word out. And if they're willing to like share it to their stories, my headliner for this next show, Kristen Chirico, is like so nice. She's like, tag me in anything and I'll reshare it to my story. So she's been like super. And some people don't really even want to like clog their feet up with promotions, which is like the other problem. But she's been really nice, and you never know. Like you never know if
How
a
many
head.
followers does she have? Does she have a big audience?
She used to be. She's like a former BuzzFeed
Oh,
video creator, and now is a comedian. She's like maybe I don't know 200, 300,000.
yeah, that's a good amount on Instagram.
So there's like goods and bads. The last show I didn't have a headliner, and the pros of having a headliner is because I'm doing it at the Crow. This is like very minutia and logistics, but I have to start before the show downstairs because there's a downstairs room, and I have to end after it. So if that downstairs
Oh.
show is going a little late, I have to give comics, like I have to keep my show going so that, I don't let the upstairs show have people leaving while the downstairs headliner is like finishing their set.
Oh my God.
So
That's a timing nightmare in my book.
yeah, that was the most stressful thing about the last show. So God bless that Gloria, she's hosting this week. She came and I was like texting her. I was like, do you want to do 5 minutes like at the end of the show? Because we need to fill another like 10, 15 minutes. And I can't do like 50. What am I going to do? This was like post kidney
Crowd
stone
work.
car accident, bachelorette party. I'm not even good at crowd work. What am I? And it's 20. It's like 25-person room. It's not really like the most like crowd workable
Right.
room because it's so small.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. We love Gloria, by the way. Let's give Gloria a big shout out.
Love Gloria. So she went up and she did like I gave her like I think almost 7 minutes because I was like, just keep going if you have the material.
Oh
So
my
that's
God.
also the perk of having a headliner is I can say, do you mind doing an extra like 2 or 3 minutes? Because I know they have it. Like I know Kristen is going on tour and she has a 30-minute set. So if I say I need to give you an extra 5 minutes, I know she'll be able to do that no problem. So that's kind of like
My
for
God.
me the pull of having a headliner, and also just getting to network with like someone who's at the next level. If they like being on the show, I could ask them to coffee or I don't know.
This is all good info. I'm loving it. Do you like my questions? So
Yeah,
prepared.
they're good. I
All
know.
right,
I
good.
love it. I got to be prepared next week and get some questions for you.
That's
about
right.
something.
That's right. We'll think of something. So, how do you think this new writing class is going to impact your comedy, whether it's your shows or your own set? Like, what is your hope? Because I know that what's the purpose of taking the writing class isn't necessarily directly related to you performing, right?
Yeah. I just want to have more in my arsenal of like comedic talents because I really like being in the comedy world and I love writing comedy. And I feel like deep down, it's like I used to watch like SNL or like Jimmy Fallon, like back in Chatham. I was like, I could do that. But like I never knew, like that was never something I thought I could do,
I don't even understand how I could. I'm your mother. How do I not know this about you?
Like whenever I would watch like SNL, I'd be like, I could write those, like I could do that, like I could be funny, like, and even watching stand up is always like I could do that.
I don't understand. How come you've never said it out loud?
Because
even?
it's embarrassing.
Oh
Sometimes
my
it feels
God.
sometimes it's like it feels embarrassing to like admit your dreams out loud when they feel so like
Oh,
far removed from my
or far
current.
reachable? I don't know.
I don't know.
Amazing.
The TV writing class is covering how to write for late night TV. So Jimmy Fallon, SNL, those kinds of shows. First class was all about writing monologue jokes, which wasn't super different than writing stand-up jokes. It's very like stand-up-y. It's just
Yeah, it is to me. I
pulling
think it's very
from
similar.
like headlines. And because, most monologues on late night shows are all about, what's in the news,
Current
like
events.
what's happening,
Current events. Yeah,
So, and then it'll go through learning how to write desk pieces, like when the hosts sit at their desk and those kinds of things. They'll do sketches and then like remote pieces. So like when Carpool Karaoke, James Corden, that's like a remote piece. Jimmy Kimmel, like interviewing people on the street, that's like or his people interviewing people on the street, that's a remote piece. So learning all of those things to eventually you can build like a packet that you can submit to shows or get hired on freelance things. I don't know. It'd be
That's so
cool to
fun.
write for like the person whoever hosts the Oscars, like that kind of thing. Like for 2 weeks, like getting to
Oh
do
my
that.
God. The stress of it would, oh, I'd probably throw up. I don't even know.
I think I would too, but I think I would really enjoy it because I feel like I'm smart. I'm observant. I have funny I can be funny sometimes. That used to be my line all growing up. I can be funny
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes. You always just say, sometimes I'm funny. That was your
Yeah.
line. Sometimes I'm funny.
Yeah.
And now you are funny oftentimes, which I like. I'm like amazed by this though on some level. I don't know why. It just seems like if people will ask me, "Oh, did she perform a lot when she was little? Was she always the funny one at family events?" And I literally sit there and go, "No. Like no, that was not who you were. You weren't performing in theater in high school, or you weren't the one that was like the loudest amongst your friends, or I don't know. This is why it's so baffling to me how we could be here right now. And I love it. It's like such a fun surprise. I don't know. I love it. What is your dream job? Like if you could find a writing dream job, I'm going to ask you that first, and then I'm going to move into a different question. Like where would you like to, if you had to pick like, oh, I'd like to have my first writing job, what would it be? Would it be a Jimmy Kimmel or what would it be?
Hmm, that's a good question. I think it would be like I feel like the dream job potentially. Like I don't even know. I also feel like the dream job keeps changing. But for TV writing specifically, it'd be writing Weekend Update on SNL.
Oh, funny. I would love you to write that stuff.
Yeah.
Do they write their own? I wonder if those two write their
They
own.
have like a team, I'm pretty sure, because I know I follow a comedian who is a Weekend Update contributor.
Oh, okay. Because I do think, yeah, because sometimes they'll say, "Oh, you wrote that one, I wrote that one." You know how sometimes they'll call each other out.
Yeah. I think they do. They definitely do write some of their own. Like they definitely. I don't
Right.
think Seth, not Seth, Colin
So,
Jost and Michael Che
yeah.
aren't like just reading lines from other people. But I think I would be curious how that works. I'm like, do they each have their own like two writers and like it's like a team versus like Che versus
Okay, this
Colin?
is why
Like
you need to get this job so then you can
I
tell us
know,
what it
so I
really
can know the
is.
inner workings.
That's what I need to know. It'd be so cool to know that. So, should we? I don't want to start to wrap up yet because I have so many more questions. But I have. I'll save the last question for last.
Okay,
So,
we can do them
so
rapid
I'm not gonna.
fire.
Yeah, we'll do them rapid. But no, not rapid fire. I just wanted to know things like when you're. Do you have trouble picking comedians? Do people always say yes? Like, what's your?
Mm.
Do you think you're building a reputation where people are right away? Are you struggling to get a lineup?
Definitely not struggling to get a lineup. I think I have more comedians wanting to be on. The difficulty for me is I it's hard because I want to be a space for like female comedians to have the opportunity to perform and like have exposure, whatever. But I also want to put on a really good show
Okay.
and like that's like funny. So it's like I want to have seen or feel really confident in the comics that I'm putting on my lineup and not just because they submitted and I said, oh, yeah, submit. Maybe I can get you on a lineup. Like, I still want to have this certain, and not like exclusivity, and not exclusivity by any means, just like I want a certain caliber of comedian.
I was just going to use the word "you have standards"
I
because
have
I love that word.
standards.
I
And it's
love
like,
that
I
word.
also don't want comedians that do material that I think is like offensive. Not that it's like really common for female comedians to do like offensive material, but just like that align with like the brand.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I like that. I think that you probably are building your reputation if you have people saying that you're their favorite show
Yeah.
that they performed at. So I think that's important.
Hmm.
Do you actually go and see? Have you seen all the comedians that have submitted, or do they send you their work and that's how you see it on video?
I would say for half of every lineup, except the first one. The first one was like all people I had seen before. What I kind of try and do is I try and I have a link to submit. So if you want to submit to be on the show, you can fill out a form and like apply essentially, and you have to submit a tape. The other way is me seeing you in person. So I feel like half the lineups are usually comics I've seen at open mics or at shows, and I'm like, that person would be she's funny.
Mm-hmm.
They're funny. And I do try and put some of the people who submitted, so I'm not just like asking people to submit and then never going
Oh
there.
yeah,
So
yeah. Would you consider putting one that's like, oh, I'll give this person a shot, even though I'm not really on board with
There's a lot of
their vibe?
strategy with the selections of the lineup. It's like, who's going to be good? Who do I think will bring people? Who do I think would maybe help put me on their show? Who, like, if I can get a producer like, if I get a comic that also produces a show, like maybe if they come on mine, I could, ask to be on theirs and, get on more easily, potentially. That's like another strategy element.
Do you like I don't know if the right word is prestige, but the prestige of being the producer of a show? I mean, do you feel imposter syndrome? Do you feel like,
No,
yeah,
not
I'm owning it?
really.
You don't feel imposter syndrome. Good.
No, because I feel like I'm very organized and everyone, like, that's not an issue. And for me, in that,
Yeah.
like, I feel more comfortable saying I produce a show than saying I'm a stand-up comedian, which is a weird.
Oh, that's funny. Why?
Yeah. Because I feel like I have done producing like my whole life. Like, I feel like everything I do is production. Like, work, like, not that it's like I've been a PA, I've worked in social media, I've planned content shoots before, I
Right. So this
run
is
the
your
back
comfort
end of
zone.
Socialize, so being organized and planning things is always been my strong
Yeah.
suit.
And
Whereas,
you can
like,
get shit done. You can get shit done. Yeah.
that feels very credible versus like saying I'm a stand. I feel like I have to say I do stand-up comedy. Like, I have to change that mentality and get really comfortable. Like, I'm a stand-up comedian. Like, I'm doing the thing. I am one. But because I'm not like a professional, or I'm not performing that's when I feel the imposter syndrome. Like, oh, I'm not
Okay.
performing enough to say that I'm a stand-up comedian, even though I am.
Okay. Well, you are, but
I know.
I understand that too. I do. I completely understand both sides of that.
Okay, dream headliner. Okay, I will say this. I've been having a bit of a comedy crisis internally because I realized recently that I am a female comic and all of my inspiration comics are men.
Oh.
And it's very jarring to, not jarring, but I'm like, I don't really, like, I say that I'm a female comedian. I want to support all these female comedians, but I like all the comedians that I aspire to be like, or like Mike Birbiglia, Pete Holmes, John Mulaney, like all these men. Because I realized I'm 90% clean. Like, the only dirty stuff in my set is if I say fuck. Like, I'm not doing, and I feel like a lot of really successful female comedians, and this
Like
isn't a
Nikki.
bad thing.
No, but that's just who she is. Like Nikki Glazer.
Nikki Glazer, and like,
Glazer.
I mean, maybe Eliza doesn't have this as much, but it can be very like raunchy or like sexual, which is totally fine and it's hilarious. It's just
not
like
your
not what I
style.
want to do, and it's harder to think of female comics that don't do that at all in their material. But I will say the dream headliner now, because I'm trying to watch more female comedians and, support, obviously, I'd say like Tig Notaro would be the dream headliner, because I feel like she is a female comedian in that same arena. And I really like her stuff. So Tig Notaro would be the dream headliner. I think I'm trying to think of like a venue, but like that's kind of hard. Like, I would say
It is hard. I don't even know the venues, but I.
Okay. Because they did
Go
this
ahead,
for
go ahead.
Netflix. They did this for Netflix as a joke fest, the
Okay.
Hollywood Bowl, which is like
Okay, I
the
like
outdoor
it.
venue. So let's say that Laughaholics, Tig Notaro, Hollywood Bowl, one day.
Love it. We're recording it. We have the receipts.
What's the last
Okay.
question?
No, that was it. The last question was
okay.
dream venue and dream headliner.
My dream headlining venue, I have two, would be
Oh,
Radio
different-
City. Like, if it was me. Can you imagine? We're going to put it on the record.
Oh, let's
right
put it on
today.
The record. I'm so excited.
That would be like big, because for me that would be like a homecoming show, because like that would be not like the high school auditorium at Chatham. Absolutely not.
No, but I just took a picture of Radio City the other day.
The other venue would be the Michigan Theater, which doesn't really like make sense, but I think that would be iconic.
Nostalgic.
Yeah, nostalgic.
Yeah. Nostalgic. All right, that's beautiful. This was so much fun. Thank you for being willing to be in the spotlight, under fire, with questions that I didn't ask you or share with you ahead of time. Yours truly,
Helen and Juli.
This was so much fun. I think that this topic was really good for us. I'm happy that we tackled it. We got all the updates. If you know and want to follow along with us, you know our social medias, and please leave us a nice review.
Leave us a review. Put those 5 stars. Leave a comment on YouTube.
I'm just going to wave.
Right.
I'm going to let you do the outro from now on. Bye.
Alrighty. Bye.
Bye.